Hey there, welcome. My name's Josh, and this is Road to Riot, where I'm sharing you my journey of where. And this is another episode of Road to Riot, where I'm sharing with you what I'm doing on my journey to become a concept artist at Riot. And, well, this week was fun. It was actually kind of a breakthrough for me. Something snapped, switched, turned on, connected in my brain of deconstructing the base shape of the face into cubes. And this happened mostly through Proco, which if you haven't, done Proco, then I highly recommend it. He has a portraits class and a cartooning stylization caricature class as well that I have. They're both really great. And he sparked the transition for me. So last week I talked about Drawbox. I did more of that. But then I was doing faces. And at first I was just doing Loomis. And that got me up to here. This is all on stream, by the way, so it might be a little memey because we're just interacting with chat the whole time. So we were joking about how cheap American gas is compared to internationally priced gas over in the UK. So we got James infatuated with American gas, and then Swimcap Kun, and both of these homies were just done with Loomis, and that's fine, and that's okay, and I got it, but I wasn't really feeling it. And I was a little lost. So then I decided I wanted to actually go more into Loomis and more into how to actually go, because I got tired of doing the construction, doing the circle, doing the other circle, and then doing the cross hatching. It's I'm so done with that. And I was drawing drawbox cubes all day, every day. I was just rotating cubes the whole time. That was just what I did. And it felt kind of weird jumping from cubes to faces until suddenly I realized that I could just do this. This is the Cookie family. And I basically I would take a cube in whatever angle I wanted. I would start with, the pinch like I talked about, and then I would try to turn it into a face. Whatever. Maybe just do this and put it out there. And I ended up just making faces on all of these cubes, and it was a lot of fun, and they got really cute. I had a blast with this. Towards the end, I started trying to mess around with multiple planes of the face, with different perspectives, so you could have one going this way and another one going down, so two face, and then the monstrosity I tried to do three. This one turned out really well, this guy here. I like this one. This one's a little weird with the perspective, and so is this one with it's coming with the foreshortening coming at you, but it was just like that. It's trying to make my brain think in 3D more often. And then I tried to experiment with eyes. And this was following along with Proco's step by step, which is more on the realism side. And I hated that, and I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. But I can't avoid it. You have to know realism if you want to stylize. You just have to. You have to have a good foundation. So I very quickly ran to my anime as fast as I possibly could. And we got into this was just copying references, just copying them as best as I could. And I realized that shading and values is terrifying right now. This was help indeed. This was about as close as I got to trying to shade. And I decided that I just want to focus on line art for now. If I can make it, so much of the eyes is shading. So much of it is. But I was if I can just get things to read, if I can just get really nice graphic line art reads for now, that's fine. I can worry about shading later. So then I just ditched the shading for now and just tried to go for here. Both of these are just copies. So then the lessons I learned all around was break down the face into primitive shapes, which is the cube right here. The underside of a cube. So if we're doing, let's see, if I'm doing, say, this right here, his face is here, it has to be at an angle basically, because it's this bottom side of the cube. So if you take a cube from this angle here, right? This is the brow. This is where your eyes live. This is your brow ridge, which also that ties into your eyebrows are on the brow ridge. Duh, that's why they share the same name. Dang it. So this right here, the eyebrows would go here, on the brow ridge, on the corner of that cube right here. That's where they would go. Naruto's wearing a top hat up here. This is wrong. He's literally wearing a hat here. But this is the brow ridge here. That was huge. And then how the nose comes out. So that was big. So yeah, basically drawing a line in the middle of one of the planes of the square, and then putting eyes in the center, with this being the ridge. It kind of turns into the forehead a bit, but anyway, I had fun. Excuse me. And then 1-2 eyeball, 1-2 eyeball. That's where I got here when I was drawing, because you started off like drawing like the upper lid, lower lid, and you have to like the socket where it lives in, right? Like that's like the skull part of it. And that's where I got confused, because like before you're shading, everything just looks the same, right? Like how many circles do you draw? Like, and for stylization, how much do you include? Do you show both lids or just one lid, or suggest it or not? So I did 1-2 eyeball just to know what the root is, and that's 1, which is just like above, like your brow ridge, like in between your eyebrow and your like this part in here, and then you have 1, and then 2, and that's your upper lid, and then your eyeball. Same down from below. You have 1, 2, which is your lower lid, and then your eyeball. Because before I was doing like this, I guess. Or like just that, which works technically, like if with 1-2 eyeball, but if you're stylizing it, like this is 1, this like it's just 1-2. Like where's the 2? Like here's the lid right there. 1-2 eyeball, and right here this line that's symbolizing the lower lid, so that's 2 right here. So 1-2 eyeball. But I like it made me know why I was making the choices that I was making. So 1-2 eyeball, just to know what realism looks like, and then you can stylize the crap out of it however you want. 1-2 eyeball was big. What else do we have? We have 1 big line represents the upper lid. That's true. People did that right here. Just this 1 straight line. This right here, they just have a nice clean upper lid. Some people just only have the, only just show it in the beginning. They just do this. And it's like a stylistic choice to go all the way back. The open inside angle depends on perspective. Okay, so this part here, like this part here, if it's not shaded, before you shade it, it's just like it just kind of bleeds into it, right? But if you try to shade it, you have to draw a line somewhere. And the difference between, say, how it is like this based off the reference, or something like, you know, something like this, you know, like is based on perspective and where they're looking. So if I did something like that, you know, that looks different. Like how far the eye goes in, like how far does it go down, you know? So like here, like where is that invisible line? Like that line exists, but you're choosing not to include it. But you have to know where it is. And it's the same with here. Like see how it's open here? They have like just the straight up open anime eyes. This one didn't even have a lower lid. They'd like, this is her skin here. It just stops. Like this is her skin. They didn't even bother drawing it in. And by drawing it in, I mean having the same value as the rest of her eyelids and everything else, you know? So basically going from realism to seeing how people simplified and stylized these eyes into the aesthetic that I love so much was huge. Of seeing how they took 1-2 eyeball and simplified it into, because you look at this, you don't see 1-2 eyeball really. Like you see like, okay, 1-2 eyeball, but not below. They don't really show the lower lid. Like this is the lower lid, but they don't even, you know, maybe they don't really show the light catching on it. So it's like 1-2-ish eyeball, you know, so just seeing that relationship between stylization and everything else. So this was a blast. I had a lot of fun. Oh yeah, changing the iris shape, that's right. That's dynamic and sexy. This one here, like, it's super angular, extremely angular. For the references that I use, and I'll just throw them up on the screen and post. Sorry, EmbodiedJosh, here you go, work. These are the references that I chose, and you can see here, like, the irises are more, like, they're not just circles, like, they're angular, they have different shapes, and he just exaggerates the angle of the perspective. Instead of rotating ellipses, he rotates, like, diamonds and squares. So he's not afraid to use angular shapes, but yet all of his characters are still so super feminine, and there's a lot of soft curves in there as well. So just this dude's shape language and his shading and his color, I love it. Love this guy so much. I'll throw his link in the description. You can check out his art station. I love his style. Absolutely love it. So that's that. And I think that's all. Oh wait, no, I got rejected from Riot. Congratulations, we did it. I said I mentioned before that I applied, and just to know for sure that I wasn't good enough. And now here we do. We have an answer. Here we do. What a weird thing to say. Just the standard rejection. But that's good to know, because that would have been kind of weird if I started a whole Road to Riot and I somehow miraculously got the job like 3 episodes in. That would have been weird. So now it's like, you know that you know, you're not there. And sometimes it can be scary to apply to places, especially when you feel inadequate, because like, well, what's the point? I don't want to get disappointed. I don't know, whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, until I got rejected, there was a part of me that was like holding on to hope of like, well, maybe for some like fluke, you know, like maybe that's just me being stupid. But this was like nice. It gave me like closure of like, all right, oof, I finally, like, thank you for just telling me no instead of like rejecting me by like not getting back to me. So there we go. We have it rejected May 31st at 8 a.m. on the dot. So we can throw this in the vault and then look back on it years from now and have a chuckle. So, man, I have so many of these. I've applied to Riot so many times just out of like to not let myself be afraid of them. Because, like, I know every time I've applied, I know that I was going to get rejected, but I applied anyway just so I wouldn't, like, stagnate or talk myself out of it or, like, get in my head or, like, you know, like, just, like, prove to myself that I could and, like, I had the guts to do it. So, whew, we got rejected again. Excellent. Excellent. Don't give up. This was a lot of fun. If you want to hang out with me on stream, do it. It's a blast. Maybe we'll name one of our studies after you. This was named after Cookie. This was James. Swim Cup couldn't. It just kind of came about. Yeah, but then we came up with names for all the different cookies. So it's a good time. Hang out on stream. If not, I'll just post the sum ups for you here on YouTube as I'm doing now. So thanks again for all your support, all the plugs. Again, Twitch, come hang out. I have a Discord, come hang out. I have a Patreon, give me money. Well, and then socials. You can follow me on there. It's a blast. Thanks again for all your support. I'll keep you posted on my journey, and I will see you all next time.